Okay, so I went all the way around and finished the Indian wrap stitch. That's what it looks like in the mint color. Wrap and then a stitch, wrap and then a stitch, wrap and then a stitch. And then if you create 3 rows, you can stagger them or you can build them right on top of each other. There are a lot of different designs you can create with that. So next up is the diamond stitch. Diamond stitch is right here in the blue. There's a full diamond stitch. There's a half below, but there's a full diamond stitch. Now I thought that'll be fun to do in silver metallic, so that's how we're going to start it. So the diamond stitch is made up of 2 parts. It's the basic stitch or regular stitch, whatever you want to call it, simple stitch, and then you backstitch. So first thing we're going to do is a regular stitch all the way around, or basic stitch. So it's going to get a little tricky because we don't just have these regular spaces to hook up to or to attach to. So I like my stitches to be about 1/4 of an inch apart. So I'm going to have to go against my own rules, but I will probably try to go like use this stitch and then use a stitch at the end, then a stitch here, stitch at the end here, and stitch at the end to try to get them about 1/4 of an inch apart. Ordinarily, I wouldn't do something like that with an Indian wrap, but this is just practice. So, okay, so you all know the basic or simple stitch, but I am going to go right here and pick up, and whatever pattern I start with, I'll just follow that through all the way so it looks similar. I'll just do a few of the simple stitches. You know how to do it. You started your basket that way. So then I am going to try to keep my thread untangled. This thread does fray a little bit, and I'm going to pick up 2 outside stitches. And it tangles easier because of this metallic in there. So I'll just do this for a little bit and show you. What I think it'll look like if I can get it on there right. So I've got 2 arms length of thread, and it is easier to tangle when it's longer. So then I will go here. So if you have a problem getting under, go in like one of the channels between the pine needles, and you can get your point in there and then lift up the thread. And because I do pull my baskets really, really tight, I wax them or different ways to protect them, but I will just stitch where I need to stitch after I get my thread all untangled here, to try to keep it about 1/4 of an inch apart without making it look too weird on the bottom. Yeah, see, this one's tangling more than anything else. Okay, so that's pretty good. Now my wraps that are a little further apart, obviously my stitches are going to be a little further apart. I don't use this metallic thread a lot, but I really like it when I do. So hopefully you could see the silver. It's not as bright as everything else, but I think that would be cute for diamonds. So I will work my way all around with the basic simple stitch, and then I'll show you how we backstitch. Okay, so this last row we're working on is going to be the diamond stitch. So I did go all the way around with the basic or simple stitch, trying to space them about 1/4 of an inch so that the diamonds will be uniform when we do the back stitch. So I'm ready to start the back stitch. Not sure if you guys know it, but all we do is go backwards and end up at the same point. The thing that I really like about the back stitch is you don't have to keep adding pine needles because you're working on a row that you already created. So here we go. Here is our thread coming from the back. This is where we finished. I'm just going to come up and over, and I will go down on the left side and come out on the right. Through the back. So here is the bottom half of your diamond stitch. We'll have to do this same situation for to make the complete diamond. We're going to have to, once you do the bottom half, then we have to create the top half. And it'll be the same way. So now we just have to backstitch without tangling all of our thread. So you come from the back, fold over to the front, go to the next stitch. So you want to come in, sometimes you'll do it on a wrapped row or whatever you're going to be connecting up to. You want to come in on the left side of that stitch and come out on the right. And the reason for that is you want to anchor your stitch. I wasn't watching very close. I hope that was on video. So let's do that again. This was 2 arms length, and it's still a pretty long piece of thread. So we're coming from the back. Here's the back. You can see how it's forming the bottom of the diamond. Up and over, come to the front. I want to go to the left side of that stitch and then come out on the right. Okay. So see, the closer the stitches are on the bottom, the closer the diamonds are going to be. So this is just going to look like a zigzag until I get all the way around and add another row. So let's do that one more time. In the back, coming back over to the front. I am going to the left side, coming out the right side of that stitch. So it's a little bit diagonal, but that's what we need to anchor the stitch. Okay. Let's do that one more time. Back, front. We're going to go in left side of that stitch, come out on the right, and that will help anchor it. That's what it's looking like. I'll go all the way around and then I will show you the second half of the diamond stitch. Okay, so we made it all the way around. We did a basic stitch and then a back stitch. And now we have the bottom row of our diamond stitch. So let's work on completing the top row. And we are going to do the same thing, basic stitch and back stitch. And I'll just show you a few quick stitches of how I am going to do that. I will continue on with the silver. Here's the back. I wanted to show you how I will transition. I'm going to go ahead and go back up to this row. The top row, and I'm going to leave that stitch on top. Sometimes I hide it, but in this case I want it to complete that portion of the diamond stitch. And I want to come out on this side of that stitch so that it holds it in place. We'll go back over to the front. It's looking pretty good. Lots of color. And I will start, well, it looks like this is flaking off a little bit. I am going to go right under the X here. Not going to pick up any needles. I just did a diamond stitch video and I was going through the needles, the upper portion, about quarter of the upper portion. Sometimes that'll help it look a little bit more open. So we're just going back and going to create the basic or simple stitch all the way around, going right under that X. So this is a really good stitch to finish off your baskets with, the diamond stitch, or even just half diamond stitch, like what you have here. It's very decorative. And then the last row in your basket will have this cross across, and that really helps to hold the needles in. So it's a good thing to use for either decorative like this or to finish off your basket. I've used the back stitch a lot of times to finish off my basket, and I've also put beads on top of it. So I know that you know already how to do the basic or simple stitch, but I was just showing you how I transition back up, having that stitch go over. There we go. So I'll continue on with this and go all the way around, show you what that looks like, and then we'll do the back stitch. And we're almost done with the stitch list. So the last thing we're going to do is the wrap. I like to wrap around the end a lot. So we'll do that one, and you know how to do that because these are wraps. These are smaller wraps, Indian wrap. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I went all the way around with the basic simple stitch in silver. We're creating our second half of the diamond stitch in the same manner that we created the first half. So I made it all the way around, coiling to the right. Now we are going to backstitch again and form our diamond stitch. So backstitching, I'll just do a few because I've showed it to you before. One over the top. I'm coming back to front. I am going to go on the left side of that thread and come out on the right, so it locks the stitch in. It's bit hard to see because this metallic silver shines right out of there. Then I'm going to come out through the back crossways sort of again. There we go. Yeah, this thread tangles so easily. If you're trying to go too fast, which I was doing, there is our first little diamond. Hope it's not blurry. I can't really see what you're seeing, but there's our first little diamond. Now these are going to be a little closer together because the stitches below were closer together. Let's do another one just to refresh, because so I'm going back to front, cross over. I'm coming in on the left side, kind of going through the thread a bit, coming out on the other side because I want that stitch to lock in. So the further your stitches are apart, the larger the diamonds will look. Like on here, these stitches were very far apart. And so we had those diamond stitches. And I think I went through the needles, so it widened them up even more. But this is a smaller piece, smaller stitches. We're having smaller diamonds. That doesn't mean they're worth any less, though. So I'm coming in on the left. Going out on the right. So you can go straight through the middle. Try it different ways and see if you like it more open, a little more closed, straight up and down. And we're going to end up with that X on the top again. That's, again, a good way to finish off a basket. So here's 3 diamonds here. They're smaller on the bottom. I'll get down a little ways and show you the areas where they're a little more open and show you what that looks like. Okay, so I've created a few more. See, the stitches are closer together here, so these are a little more squished, but then these are open, a little bit more open. And I think that looks better. If you want it really open, if you want it further open, which a friend of mine, Sherry, had once told me to do it, so it looks really open, is to go right through the middle as opposed to going in at the left and out at the right. I've been going in at the left and out at the right because I like the stitches to be locked down. They'll be locked down if you go straight through the middle. But on this basket, I used Sherry's way of going straight through the middle here. And that's the look you get. And of course, the stitches are further apart. It's a bigger basket. It's the bottom of the basket. So you could try it different ways, see what you like. I'll work my way all the way around, finish the diamond stitches. You could always leave it like this and just use this as the outside of your basket. But we are going to create the wrap stitch all the way around when we're done with the diamond. Thanks for watching. Okay, we've made it all the way around. Diamond stitch. If you like the look of that, you could continue on, create more diamonds. We are going to do a solid wrap around the outside. And for some reason, I'm thinking a darker blue. But this is what it looks like. We've made it almost to the end. So it's a little late tonight. I think that I will take a break. I'm tired, my hands hurt. and get back at it tomorrow. Let me show you up close. See you tomorrow. Okay, we are almost to the end of this stitch sampler. So our last stitch that we will be doing in class will be a wrap stitch. So you'll recall down here is the Indian wrap. We are just going to create a solid row all the way around. I like to finish my baskets off that way and start my baskets usually that way because it gives a pop of color. This is the other way I like to finish them because it really holds in the pine needles and keeps everything solid and together. So you probably remember how to wrap a coil, but I will show you. So all you do, I'm going back to front and just wrap, wrap, wrap all the way around. Now, as I mentioned before, you really need to push these snug together, especially because the color underneath you don't want to show through. Now, I do have a black basket I'm working on over here, and I'm using black thread. I'm not as careful because I know if a little bit shows through, it's going to be black underneath and it won't be noticeable. So I will wrap to the next point of attachment, which in this basket will be right here. That looks really nice and snug. And then in this case, I am just going to go under the X, under the thread. Not picking up any pine needles. You can do that in your baskets if you like. I do it in some of mine. But in this case, I'm just going to go under the X. I think that will be sufficient, and it's quicker. It will be quicker for class. So see how nice and solid that is? So I will keep going. I'm always pulling down to try to tighten things up. So squish that down. See how nice and solid that is? It's going to give it a nice color. And this thread, it's wax thread, but it doesn't have much wax on it. I've found that the black thread that I use, it's the same stuff, Lynn Hosta, 1 millimeter waxed thread. Some have a lot of wax on them and some don't, but the black seems to have the most wax. It leaves a lot behind, which is not that big of a deal. You could just blow dry it and the wax melts into the basket and then helps to protect it. So I'll just do one more to give you an idea of what that is going to look like. I have 2 arms lengths, so the thread is tangling over here. Right under that X. Easy peasy. Pull it snug. There you go. So I just attach at each each of the top points there. That's what it looks like. I will go all the way around again and let you see what it looks like when it's all done. I think this bright blue will look really nice, just keeping it all in. So I'll be right back. Okay, so here we are. I finished wrapping the last row. That's our last stitch, or our 6th stitch. So I hope we can get all these stitches done in class. Timed them out. Takes about 6 hours to complete all of them, depending on the size of the center. So hopefully using a smaller center or even a walnut slice would make it quicker. But so we started out with the simple or basic stitch. Then we created the V-stitch in red. And if you wanted to turn that into a wheat stitch, you could just continue on this pattern, the V-stitch, and you could create the wheat stitch. You could do the spiral wheat by adding to this leg, or you could do the straight wheat by adding to this leg. So we just did one row or one coil of the V-stitch. Then we enclosed the straight leg of the V-stitch with a tie stitch. So on the next row, we did the Indian wrap stitch. Following that, we did the bottom of the diamond stitch by creating the simple or basic stitch all around, then turning around and back stitching. And so we have the bottom of the diamond stitch here. Then the top of the diamond stitch is the same thing, going all the way around with the basic simple stitch and then back stitching that entire row. So you have to create 2 rows that way to get the actual diamonds in there, and you'll see them there. We finished it off with a wrapping stitch, and I attached the end here securely and just clipped off. Here's the back. Looks pretty clean. This is called the inside out stitch, and it's just the back of the tie stitch. But you could do that on the front, call it the inside out stitch. There you have it. I hope you learned something new, and then I gave you a few tips and tricks. Thank you for watching.